Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tilting Ground Untitled Notre Dame USC College Football Podcast. I'm Michael Buto. I'm here with Greg Flamon. Hi, Greg. How's it going?
I'm okay, Michael.
You're doing all right?
Man, I'm hanging in there, man. You know what? Like, it's just I'm ready for this year to be done.
Just more of the same for you.
Yep. It's been determined that this is just not going to be a good year.
This is your 40 years wandering through the desert phase.
That is correct. Oh, man.
Well, before we jump into the football games, last podcast, I think I asked the question on what does the College Football Playoff Committee do? Like, what exactly their powers extend to? So I did some research, and I found out that not only do they pick the 4 teams for the College Football Playoff Series, they pick all the New Year's Bowl games. However, right. Some of the New Year's Bowl games have conference tie-ins, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
So the 6 big ones are orange, rose, sugar, cotton, fiesta, and peach. And I believe this year it's cotton and fiesta are the 2 playoff games.
Okay.
I think. And then those move around. Then the national title game is always on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they do. So if one of the automatic qualifiers from a conference, like say the Pac-12 team is in actually the playoff and the playoff game is in a Rose Bowl game,
mm-hmm.
then the Rose Bowl could get the next highest ranked college football playoff team, for example. So just, it does matter. So if USC can jump into, one of those top, let's see, there's 6 bowl games, like 10 spots ish, they have a chance to play in a New Year's Day bowl game because of the College Football Playoff Committee.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to know these things.
I expect that, by the way.
Well, so did all the announcers.
Right.
Well, we'll get to that. But let's start. Let's go in a progression of sadness to happiness today. So let's start with Notre Dame and Virginia Tech. It was senior day.
It was.
In South Bend, and I don't think it went like the seniors wanted it to.
Did the beginning.
Well, it went like all the games started this year.
Yeah. I've never seen a team just like jump out to leads like this.
And they're big leads too. It's not like, it's like 10-3 or something.
They're like in double-digit advantages. I want to say of the 7 losses, they've scored first in 5.
I think they've had double-digit leads in 2 of them.
Yeah.
In 2 of the 7 losses?
Well, let's see.
They said they had this stat during the game. I don't remember it now.
Because Miami, they actually came back and won.
Oh yeah,
they were up double digits against Stanford. No, in at least 3 because they were up 14-0 against Duke and lost. They were up 10-0 to Stanford and lost, and they were up 17-0 in this game and lost. So it's at least 3.
It's at least 3. Yikes! And that's really impressive.
It is. It's almost like it's actually hard to do. Even if you were trying to do it on purpose.
So what happened? They took their foot off the gas? They just started making bonehead plays?
No,
a couple 3 and outs, and suddenly Virginia Tech's
back
in this?
they don't. It's always fool's gold. Like when I'm watching it. Although I will say, like in the beginning of this one, I was actually more encouraged than I have about any of them because they were actually running the ball. Like they made like a concerted effort to try to run. And I was thinking, like, there's no reason that they couldn't have been this team all season. They're not. It's not like they have anyone who's healthy now that was hurt, or they have different personnel. Like, no, like they could have been this team all year, and then, like they got away from it, at least on offense, and they started messing around, and it's like when you run these precision type execution plays that they haven't been good at all season. Of course it didn't work out for them when they played a good team. Because of course it didn't. And, this is what they've been all year. This is why you're 4-6.
At least they're consistent, right?
Yeah, well, they're consistent in their inconsistency. This is why they're 4-6, and now they're 4-7.
I mean, it did like Virginia Tech only had like 4 yards in the first quarter. Like it's just crazy. It's just crazy to me.
I think the biggest thing about them is like it's totally a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think at this point, like they are expecting it to happen.
They're just waiting to see
Yeah,
what
like
new and
they're
interesting
waiting for,
way they could
and
find to
so
lose.
like they're subconsciously like okay, they're up 24-7, and there's like 3 minutes left in the first half. And Virginia Tech comes, it's 3rd and 11 at like Virginia Tech's, I want to say 30. Like they're nowhere near scoring zone, and um, they send their captain James Anualu, who's been like their best player all season, and they send him on a blitz. He's totally untouched, and he just flies in there, like doesn't try to break down, and does he just tries to kill the quarterback. So what does the quarterback do? He steps away from him and he runs for a first down. On the same drive, they have a roughing the passer. On the same drive, they jump off sides on, what is it, 3rd and short. So they just give him a first down. Then they get a pass interference. They end up giving up a touchdown. So now it's 24-14. And right before the half, and then they get the ball to start. And then Virginia Tech gets the ball to start second half, and they promptly go down and score
Right.
touchdowns. So it's
And now it's a game.
24-21. Right. And this is like, your whole lead is gone. They were up 24-7. And it's like, if you just sack him, they're punting to you with like 3 minutes left, and you can go down and score to make it 31-7 or 27-7. They just do so many like non-winning plays. Like they're driving after Virginia Tech scored a touchdown. They're driving in the 2-minute drill. They throw the ball to the receiver. He doesn't get out of bounds. I mean, he catches the ball on the sideline. You have to try not to go out of bounds in that situation, and he doesn't. So they have to call a timeout. Then it's 3rd and 6, and they throw the ball. They throw the ball for 7 yards. And the receiver catches it, right? And he kind of turns, and he lets the defender kind of throw him backwards. Now, of course, the incompetent official doesn't give him forward progress. And then they review it, and they still don't give him forward progress. But it's like, if you just catch it and fall down, it's a first down. But he's not aware of where he is on the field, so he doesn't. These are non-winning plays. Like, these are the things that teams that aren't winning, that don't know how to win, that aren't confident, like these are the things that they do. So, they lost.
Per usual.
Like if you do a whole game of non-winning plays, you're gonna lose. The team that makes the plays, that does all the little things, is going to beat you.
I mean, you don't even have to do all the little things. You just need to do some of them.
Right.
Just a couple here and there. Because it's not like Virginia Tech's some perfect team.
Yeah. I'm just so ready for this season to end.
So you mentioned the forward progress mess up, and you had warned me that you're just coming hot on officials today. How else did the referees bother you? Since Notre Dame's not playing that hot.
Look,
let's get you fired up about referees.
I don't know why I even have to put out this caveat, because I'm not on the team, and if I want to blame something on a referee, I can do that. But I don't
get fined.
I don't want people to think this is some sort of like sour grape situation. Notre Dame is 4-7. Okay, no team in the NCAA at any level really is 4-7 because the refs screwed them in every game, in every situation. Okay, that's not why you're 4-7.
That's pretty hard to
Yeah. So that is my caveat to this. I am not excusing their play. I'm not excusing anything. That being said, what we saw last week was utter incompetence from the officials. And I just don't know where we go from here when it's like you have replay and we can see how ridiculous some of these decisions are. Like, targeting is such a big deal. I mean, every single weekend, someone gets thrown out of a game on just some garbage. Every single weekend. And now I've got Deshaun Kaiser sliding to the ground twice and getting hit in the head. The first one with the crown of a guy's helmet, like the top of his helmet on his face. And I can't get a call. If you can't see that, then you can't be out there. I've got Cole Luke on the sideline getting jumped over. Like, the receiver is literally like pulling on his face. And he's pulling on his face and jumping over him. And Cole Luke gets called for pass interference. If you can't do these things, I don't know. Like, and then on the next play, they throw the fade to the tight end, and he two-hand shoves the corner out of the way, and he scores a touchdown to tie the game. Like,
you think they'd give the makeup call there?
I don't even need a makeup call. I just want him to call it correctly. Like, I don't want a makeup. I just want it called right. That's all it is. So, look, I'm not saying like there weren't bad calls.
I'm sure that you thought there were bad calls every way.
The other way. I mean, look, they called offsides on. They called a false start in the beginning on Virginia Tech. That was just brutal.
dubious.
Yeah, like just brutal. Like Notre Dame jumped off sides, and then they gave it a false start to Virginia Tech. Like, I get it. Like, it was terrible. That was a terrible call. You can't be messing up these targeting calls. Like, especially as a quarterback, they got hit in the head twice, and you're not calling it either time. Like, I just don't understand. So it's been, and look, anyone who's been watching, like, the officiating this year has been beyond subpar. And when you can't get it right on replay, I don't know what we have it for. I don't know why we have targeting if you can't call these things. You can't review pass interference. I mean, this is like, it's malpractice. Like, you can't see, like, you could show the replay to 10 different people, and 10 different people are going to say, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Like, this is big business. Like, you have to take it serious. Like, you can't just be like, oh, whoops.
We'll do better next time.
We missed it. Yeah,
we'll put a press release out.
Notre Dame had a kid knocked unconscious in a game, in the first game of the year. No call. Incredible.
It's not about player safety, Greg.
I don't know what it's about. So that's my rant.
Not as bad as I thought it would be.
I just, like, I don't know. I don't want to be like cursing and stuff, but
well, right. I mean, that's a little far. Going a little.
It's just hard to, and like, I was disappointed in Brian Kelly. Like, he criticized them, but it's like, you need to go nuts.
What do you think? Because he gets mad at so many people so often, he was trying to, like, keep his composure.
What he needed to do was he needed to go on a rant. Because look, all the other stuff that he said, like, it's ridiculous, and I can't defend it. So it's just like, you need to go on a rant and protect your players to the point where it's like every sports show needs to be talking about the rant you just went on.
Like Mike Gundy? Like,
yes, like that.
I'm a man, I'm 30, you come out.
And it's just like, you just put it out there and say, look, I know everyone's going to call me a baby, and I get it, right? It sounds like I'm being a baby, but you know what? My kid's got a raw deal on Saturday.
The integrity of the game's at stake.
Yeah, and it's garbage. Like, it stinks. My players
even if we won.
Screwed. My quarterback got hit in the head twice. my defensive back got thrown to the ground and they called a penalty on him. Like my defensive back got thrown to the ground and they didn't call anything. Like we lost. We're 4-7. We stink. What we got from the officiating was hot garbage, and I want everyone to notice that.
Who were the officials? Were they ACC officials?
They're ACC, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
they're probably mad they have to fly out there.
You say some goofball comment like, "Oh, you know, they're not calling it the right way, and they're not calling it the same both ways." Like, dude, this needs to be a national discussion. You need to tell your players, like, look, I'm not going to let this happen to you without me saying anything. But he did not, of course, because it's Brian Kelly.
No, he gets mad when he shouldn't, keeps his mouth shut.
Right. Instead, he says things like we should have passed the ball more.
Well, I feel like that's implied at this point. I don't think there's ever a time where Brian Kelly thinks that they haven't passed enough.
And then so then they asked him, like, well, we ran the ball effectively, but I felt like we should have passed the ball more. We ran for 200 yards against the whatever ranked defense. And I'm like, so wait, you thought you should have rushed for less yards? Like, how does that work?
They were throwing yards to get.
Yeah, like I don't.
This is my joke with everyone I talk to. It's, you're not an offensive genius if you run the ball. You're only an offensive genius if you're throwing the ball around and having wacky passing plays and 4 wide receiver sets. Like that's how you look smart. No one looks
like
smart.
You're not. It's totally
powering the ball.
You're not creative. You're not creative unless you're like throwing the ball and getting people open.
Like you're not a good coach if you're just getting your best athlete the ball who can do a lot with it.
Right. Yeah. You need to have an offense to where everyone is wide open all the time. Then you're a genius.
Exactly. It's all about ego.
I don't know.
I know. I'm right there with you. But
so go ahead.
As we head into the end of the season, though, some guys are kind of trending up. Like Equinemius St. Brown had an okay game.
He's been good all year.
Yeah. Josh Adams is starting to turn it on, even though it's a little late.
Probably healthy. What did he have?
He had 100, right?
No.
Josh Adams?
No, he did not. And that's another thing. The guy's got a 67-yard touchdown run. He doesn't get to 100 yards.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now. I pulled it up right now. He got 104. 13 carries for 104 yards.
Wait, is that
long 67?
Oh, okay. I thought I saw 97. I thought it was 13 for 97. Maybe it was
maybe somebody depends on who scored it. Maybe.
Either way, if first of all, you've got one run for 67, right?
So what's that? That's 12 for 40.
12 for 40 something
ish. Yeah.
It's like why only 12? Like why only 13 carries? Like I don't get that.
Well, DeShone Kizer had 16. Now that I'm looking at the box score.
And that majority of that was in the beginning. I mean, Virginia Tech's coming back on you, and they had 3 3-and-outs.
What happened to your guy, Dexter Williams?
You tell me.
Okay. I thought you might have an answer for me.
No, they just don't play him.
Too busy throwing.
Like what happened to C.J. Sanders? I don't know.
He had 2 carries.
Yeah. What happened to C.J. Sanders? They don't give him the ball. Okay.
He had 3 receptions for 24 yards.
What happened to Tarian Folston? I don't know.
Well, he might not be that good.
Didn't play him. He had what, 5 carries for 27?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's 5 yards a carry. Is that no good?
I mean, when you're 4-7, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, like I don't get it. Like, but we should have passed more. Okay. I mean, this is the team that they've been. They get a little, like, the defense makes adjustments, and then they don't know what to do. They just start calling plays and hoping they work, and then they don't, and then they get down on themselves because they know they're not very good.
So does Ryan Kelly come back? I know we've gone back and forth on this. For a while we thought he was gone, and then they won.
I think that people, like, on this subject, I think people, they mistake me saying that he will come back for me thinking that he should come back.
I think that's a great point to make.
because Tim is always on me about this. Like he's like, well, you're on the Brian Kelly. It's like, no, I'm not. I just don't think they're going to fire him.
You're just being practical, like
Yeah, I just don't think that they're going to. Like based on everything that I've heard about it. Like I listen to other podcasts, like the people who are in South Bend. Like if they thought that he was going to be fired, then I would say so. I just don't think he's going to be. So, should they fire him? I think they should. They need
Charlie
to move
Strong's
on.
available.
He could be the defensive coach.
I mean, he really could be at this point.
He was at Notre Dame already. He's a good coach. He just can't. He just can't run a team. He can't be the coach at Texas. He did a good job at Louisville. He's a good coach. And he's a good recruiter. Like he would be a great hire at defensive coordinator, but I just don't think that with Brian Kelly, like you have to make a change. You have to make a change. You can't let this happen. You can't I was thinking about it. I don't know what Notre Dame is better at now than that they were against Texas.
Like it's just the same. They just trot the same stuff out there every time.
Yeah, like they're
no
not
improvement.
There's
no
one's actually really better.
The defense is a little better.
They're better because they stopped. Like they changed schemes. Like look at what they did against Virginia Tech in the second half. Like they didn't do anything. They're not any better rushing the passer.
No.
They're not really any better against the run. They kept getting run over. They're not any better against the pass. I mean, like on their interception in the second half with Drew Tranquill, like he's completely out of position. Completely out of position. And they throw the post to the kid. It hits right off his hands. And because Drew Tranquill is so far out of position, it goes right to him. Like that's how they got an interception. They dropped a touchdown pass.
Right.
So, like, it's now the 11th game, and your starting safety still doesn't know how to deal with a post route from the slot. Like, he's not improving. You're not improving. And the team itself, like, the offense, the best game they played was against Texas. That was their best game.
And they lost.
But they scored 47 points.
Right, they were rolling.
I mean,
especially when Kaiser.
The only time they weren't rolling is when they had the other quarterback in, which, I mean, it's kind of a microcosm. That's just the season in a microcosm right there. Like you had your team rolling and you had the worst player staying on the sideline. But, they're still not a great running team. They're still not completely committed to it. Deshaun Kaiser is still not totally comfortable in the pocket. He's still taking bad sacks. I mean, I don't want to get into USC too much, but, I mean, they seem to be better than they were against Stanford, at least, and not so much like, I mean, not even to say Alabama. Like, you can look bad against Alabama, but they didn't look good against Stanford, and now they look a lot better.
Well, let's talk about USC.
All right.
The number 12 team in all the land. The rankings came out today. So
they're going to be higher in the
coaches thing.
No, in
playoff committee.
In the playoff, yeah, I think so.
The thing I talked about earlier. Now, whose name I forgot? That thing.
Yeah, the thing.
Good college football playoff committee rankings. Anyways, so I'm going to give a caveat now for the USC Trojans. They won. They beat the UCLA Bruins, crosstown rival. And if USC goes to the Pac-12 title game, it will actually be destiny. As opposed to when, how I get mad when people say a team controls their own destiny. Because that's just an inaccurate use of the word destiny.
Right.
So if USC goes to the Pac-12 title game, it will be destiny.
Why? Because of other things that have to happen?
Well, I don't know. It's just it was meant to be.
Oh, okay.
A predetermined outcome.
Got it.
Anyways, so they won. They came out a little a little choppy at first, and being the pessimist, worrisome fan that I am, I was very concerned, especially when UCLA hit their big trick play. I thought, oh man, this is what Washington needed to do, and now UCLA's hitting plays like this, and I don't know if SC can keep up. Darnold threw an interception. I was like, oh no, but then just the better team took over. And
well, I thought USC was ripe to, like I almost texted you before the game, and then I thought, no, it'll be fine, because I almost texted you like I kind of have a bad feeling about USC.
Just like they'd come out flat.
Well, just because like things had been going
Utah
so
lost.
well, like they can kind of just stop going well for a second, and then it's like, whoa, we don't want to blow this game.
Right, there's a little more pressure than usual.
And the way it started, it actually started out that way. Like it really could have happened.
Yeah.
But they, I mean, Darnold, he just wouldn't let it.
No, he's something else. He's running around, breaking tackles, finding open receivers. I had to look up DeQuan Hampton's number on the first touchdown. I was like, number 13, who the hell is that?
Yeah, I didn't know who that was.
He finds everybody.
They have
crazy.
75 receivers on that team.
They do.
And I'd heard of most of them except
Is that one of the freshmen?
Yeah, I assumed it was. And then I was like, oh, Hampton? That doesn't sound like any of the freshmen.
I was like, is that a Genie Harris? I thought he plays corner now. Like, I just did that. Like, is that Jack Johnson's offensive number? Like, or Jack Jones. I always call him Jack Johnson.
You know what one of my favorite games is to play now? Since we brought it up on the podcast. And because we're texting each other this all the time. It's trying to figure out who Sam Darnold reminds us of.
Oh my God! So the announcer said
it's
Tony
my
Romo.
Favorite game.
It's the best. It's the game that is just sweeping the nation. I don't know why it is that when people watch Sam Darnold, they feel the need to compare him to someone.
It is true. It's super good. Super fun.
I think it's because he's so fun to watch. Like, he's like an old school, like throwback player. I'm sure there's guys out there in, maybe not the Big 12, but I'm sure there's enough college football teams. I'm sure there's someone like him playing right at this moment.
I think Tony Romo is a terrible one.
I know.
It's terrible.
Tony Romo gets hurt all the time.
Well,
and,
no,
I
don't
picture
that.
Him, breaking tackles.
Tony Romo is. I just don't feel like they're anything alike.
Like Darnold's almost more like brute strength kind of guy.
Who he is? So these were the ones that I was thinking of during the game. I was thinking of Ben Roethlisberger.
I kind of see it.
And I was thinking Dak Prescott.
Okay. I think that's more the running side of it. And
yeah, I feel like Dak Prescott in the pros, not in college. Because I feel like Dak, he ran the ball a ton in college. He would have 20 carry games. And I feel like USC is not really trying to use Darnold that way. He just something breaks down and he can run.
Every now and then they'll run.
Yeah, every now and then they'll do the zone read, but they're not trying to run quarterback power with him or anything.
No, he's too valuable.
Yeah,
they saw what happened when the other guy was playing.
Exactly. So
I don't even think he's that big though. Where Roethlisberger, I feel like is a big guy and people just kind of fall off him.
Yeah,
I feel
with Roethlisberger, I feel like it's more style.
Yeah. Just putting it out there, just winging it.
Yeah, yeah, but
while you're still on the move, and I see what you're saying.
The thing about I was just kind of praising Clay Helton because of how much better USC's playing. And granted, they definitely have their stuff together, but I feel like so much of their success on offense is kind of due to the fact that Darnold is so Like he just comes up with stuff. Like
he fills in the gaps. Like
he totally does. Like
he makes things fluid.
He's making throws and he's making plays that it's like, no, like that's not in the game plan. Like they're not
right.
They're not game planning for that. Like he's on the run, he's throwing the ball like across his body, he's rolling left, just kind of winging the ball. It's like he had so many plays on third down where I was like he's just really good. Like that's not any kind
he fights some guy
anyone.
like going across the middle who's
like
that's trying to come back to the play.
That's not a part of anyone's scheme.
Yeah.
He's just making plays. He's like, I feel like he's so much better than I thought DeShone Kizer was at any point last season. Like the only game, like, because you look back on it in hindsight, you know, and all the games kind of blend together because you know, you look at the season in totality, so you take all of his best moments and you assume that's what we're going to get this year, you know?
Right.
But like Sam Darnold hasn't had like a stinker like we saw like DeShone Kizer put up there against Boston College or Wake Forest last year. Like he put up some stinkers. And he also had
something shocking here. And I'm going to defend DeShone Kizer.
Okay.
And just say that he did have Will Fuller. We do know that. But Sam Darnold he's kind of playing with house money. Like,
what do you mean?
I think there's a better cast of characters around Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold was kind of in the system the year before. Like there was already you knew there was going to be a quarterback controversy heading into this season. The writing was on the wall, so he knew he was going to play. He has this established offense around him already, allegedly one of the better offensive lines in the country. And the pressure's off Darnold, whereas Kizer, all the pressure's on Kizer. He's the one who has to make all these plays. Now, it just so happens that Sam Darnold can make all these plays, which is a bonus and great. And I'm not trying to downplay how good he is and how good he has been. I just feel like Kizer has a little bit more of the pressure on him. Whereas Sam Darnold, he got to come in and be the savior. Everyone like, oh, this team's in trouble. Now you can come in and just do your thing, man. Whereas Kizer, it's like, okay, if this goes bad, it's on you. Also, you have to fight this other guy off in the preseason. Like he had a lot more going against him. He had a lot of things he had to overcome. Where Sam Darnold just kind of gets to play football. We'll see what happens next year.
I'm going to completely disagree.
Oh, good. I like that we're disagreeing where I stick up for the Notre Dame guy.
Look, I appreciate your effort, but no, false. Like, look, you can poo-poo Will Fuller all you want. Will Fuller is performing at a much higher level this year than any receiver on USC right now, and that includes Juju, because Juju, that's another running subplot
we'll get
to
Juju.
Super exciting. All right, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Will Fuller was playing at a much higher level than Juju is this year.
Yes.
It's not even close. And he also had CJ Prosise, who is kind of tearing up the NFL right now, even though he broke his shoulder today.
Yeah, no, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's an NFL running back. And he also had Ronnie Stanley, who is sitting
I assume
there.
Starts.
He does start at left tackle, and he went number 6. So look, they had a ton of offensive weapons last year. And he entered with the same circumstances as Darnold. Like, he was a redshirt freshman. He came in due to injury. Darnold came in just because he replaced the guy. Like, they both are on the circumstances are no different. They're no different. Kizer
Darnold's first loss is to Utah, who's a good team.
Right,
Kizer's first loss is to Clemson, who played the national title game that year.
What?
The first loss DeShone Kizer had in his young career was to Clemson, who ended up playing in a national title game that year.
He played well.
Yeah.
No, he played very well. I'm not saying he didn't, but he also put up a stinker against Wake Forest, and he put up a stinker against Boston College.
That did happen.
I mean, that happened. Like, when has Sam
But it's
Darnold
just
put up a stinker this year?
it could have been yesterday, but he salvaged it.
But it wasn't, because he
It
played
wasn't,
really
right.
well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
He
just,
saved. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, Sam Darnold has not put up a poop performance yet. That's just a fact.
That is a fact.
And I
agree
got to
with
tell
that.
you something, Michael. It's not coming next week. We're not going to get to it tonight, but it's not coming.
I hope not.
It will not. Believe it.
So Sam Darnold, something he likes to do is throw the ball all over to all the receivers. There were, I think it was 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 11 guys caught passes yesterday. And I didn't realize it until I looked at the stat sheet that the leading receiver from the game last night was Juju Smith-Schuster with 8 catches and 76 yards.
He caught a ton of balls.
I had no idea. I thought it wasn't going to happen. He had the big catch that probably swung the momentum of the game, where this is what Greg and I were hinting at earlier. So Juju Smith-Schuster makes a great play. It was a great catch on a good thrown ball.
It was a great ball.
It's the kind of things you want to see from Darnold and Smith-Schuster.
It was a very high quality play.
Yeah. And he comes down kind of funny on his shoulder or hand, I don't know. And he starts rolling around. Juju Smith-Schuster starts rolling around in pain. And they have to take him off the field. And then he comes back on the next USC ends up scoring. And then he comes back in the next offensive series, and he runs a route and like is stomping around and has to come off the field and goes to the training table.
He couldn't even make it to the sideline.
Oh, that's right. He had to stop.
He's jogging off, and then he collapses to the ground.
And they take him to the training table. Greg and I start texting each other for the rest of the game. Like, what? How hurt is Juju Smith-Schuster? Is this an act? What's going on? And it was just, honestly, I don't know, Greg. I'm starting to sour on Juju Smith-Schuster.
It's kind of like, it's just a little bit like fake hustle. Just a little bit.
Like, so
last year, fake hustle.
Last year the team was terrible, right? And like the coach got fired for drinking. They had a new coach coming in. Like, it was a dumpster fire if there ever was one. And Juju Smith-Schuster's, say, attitude came through in a positive light because he was trying very hard and he hurt his hand and he kept playing.
Right.
And it looked like, this guy really wanted to compete. And, Win Forever Wednesdays, all that stuff was in the fire. It was in Juju Smith-Schuster. And now it just kind of seems like he's that guy who, when you're playing, like if you've ever played sports, there's always a guy who's like, hey, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Are you guys doing what you're supposed to do? Like he's good, but is he really helping everyone else out? Is his attitude really, really good for business? Like,
well, not just that, but it's like anyone who's played sports. It's like you have the guy who there's always some problem.
Yeah, like there's some reason we have to focus on you.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, like, are you hurt again? Like
that's
really?
just impossible.
Like, are you still hurt?
And it wasn't the injuries from earlier. These were new injuries on Saturday.
And it's like, look, if you're nursing problems, then you're nursing problems. Like, people understand this,
Like, yeah, no one's gonna call out Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, like if you're working through something, then that's fine. But then it's like after every play, it's like you're getting up slow and you're holding your thing, like you're holding your leg, and then you run like a deep ball, like you run a deep pattern, and you're flying down the sideline, and you don't get it, and then you got to be like you collapse on the field.
Yeah, it's like I'm not coming back to the huddle. I'm just
it's like you can't even and you're just like. You're going to the training table all the time, and then you're back.
Well, I was thinking during the third quarter, I was like, what's Helton doing? Like, if he's really hurt, like, just sit him. Who cares? Like, he got, 2 targets against, who was it, Arizona or something? Like, who? Like, whatever.
Like you're either hurt or you're not.
Yeah. And if you need to, rehab, then okay, let's start right now.
Honestly, like, I kind of feel this way about, like Jordan in his flu game. It's like, dude, if you were that sick, you wouldn't have played.
Right.
Like you're well enough to play. So it's
a little different because it was like
a little different, but it's like everything's kind of anecdotal. Like, look, I don't doubt that maybe you didn't feel good, but it's
yeah,
like
how
you're
sick
still
were
out
you?
there. Yeah, you're still out there.
Like the Willis Reed broken leg game, like he played terrible. Like
Yeah, well,
he scored
no,
like 4 points or
but the
something.
Willis Reed broken leg game, like the guy played like 2 minutes
Yeah.
and hit 2 baskets, but it's like he was hurt, like he couldn't play.
Like they took him out after they started.
Yeah, like that's how hurt he was. He couldn't play in the game. So, like with Juju,
Which is
it's
great
like,
because like the legend goes like, oh, Willis Reed played on a broken
yeah,
leg.
and it's like, look, I don't really care because like, look, he's a college kid, like whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of find it entertaining because it's like a running subplot throughout the game. It's like
He's so surly too.
like UCLA kind of stinks, and you know, it's just kind of fun to watch. Like, is Juju okay? Like, is he gonna get hurt and then is he gonna come back in? Like, how hurt is he gonna be before he comes back? Like, it's always kind of just exciting.
It's a fun subplot.
Yeah.
But especially, he's such a focal point of the USC Trojans, so it's easy to pay attention to him.
This is true.
The other focal point, Adoree Jackson got beat for 2 touchdowns yesterday.
He did.
By alumnus of his from Sarah High School.
Oh, they both went to Sarah?
They both went to Sarah.
Wow.
What's his name? Lastly.
Lastly, yeah.
Yeah, Lastly. Who? Yeah. So he broke a tackle for one. Lastly broke a tackle for 1 touchdown, and then just caught a ball, and he outmuscled Adoree on it. I didn't think Adoree looked right. On Saturday, I think he looked like nervous or tentative. I don't know. I think he had a different haircut too. I think since we talk about players' hair here a lot.
Well, I think it was like kind of the lack of a haircut.
Yes, I meant style. Excuse me. He had a different hairstyle. That's the more proper term.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got beat for some touchdowns, so he's not trending in the right direction in cornerback skills. Or at least number one cornerback skills.
Generally speaking, though, he's been pretty solid.
Yeah, I know. Amon Marshall had a great pass defended in the end zone.
He did.
It was beautiful coverage.
It was a very good play on his part.
Just the right amount of physicality. I appreciated it very much. The Trojans blocked another field goal. That was very exciting. So that's 2 in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Those are the things good teams do.
That is the things that good teams do.
Something that I mentioned last week, I was kind of mad about. I wasn't mad. I was just saying that the team has been playing well, and the defense is doing a lot better than it used to do. And I mentioned this in our post Utah State podcast. I was very upset that the defense played so vanilla against Utah State because I thought just running it up against a bad team like that would bring the momentum up when they played Stanford when USC played Stanford the following week, and they could have used some of that good juju, for lack of a better term, into the Stanford game because Stanford's offense isn't really all that great, and these defense would have some confidence or at least be playing with some fun, And I think the announcers mentioned that this week. They said, "Oh yeah, the way this defense has been playing, it's really carried over through the games." And I was like, Clancy, come on. You could have done that. They could have started earlier. If these guys were really so good and this defense is really all that great, it's like, come on. They should have been doing this earlier.
Maybe they weren't ready.
I guess. I mean, that's what they would say, right? Because you can't really – you're not training – you're not trying new stuff out against Alabama. They're too good.
I think that when you – and I'm just trying to come up with a reason. I think that when you feel like your offense isn't going to be as good, you aren't as free to take as many chances.
I see that. Like you want to keep everything in front of you.
Yeah, like you don't want to be giving up. You don't want to risk giving up big plays on like easy points because it's like, I don't know if we're going to get those back. But now I feel like
you're in every game.
Yeah, like they know, like, look, we're going to score points, so we can be a little bit more aggressive on our end.
I agree.
So maybe I don't know.
No, that's what happened. They needed to be, they have a little more confidence in themselves on offense.
Yeah,
You're 100% right. That is what happened.
it could be flawed thinking.
No, I think you're right.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
I think all the coaches were playing scared the first four-ish games.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're scoring, 30-something points a game, or you feel like you're going to, like, it just changes. It changes the mindset of really the whole program.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed. Ronald Jones is rolling.
Yeah.
He had another 100 yards. So, I mean,
yeah, he looks good.
He looks good. I can't. It's weird that he's kind of a volume running back. I didn't see that coming. That he needs his touches to kind of get going. He's not just a home run hitter. I didn't see that about him. I just thought he'd just be passes out of the backfield, just running straight by people, that kind of stuff. Whereas he's a real churner.
I think most running backs are volume running backs.
That makes sense.
I mean, unless you're like Darren Sproles or something. But even then, like in college,
you want to get your feet under you.
Yeah, you got to get hit a few times.
That makes sense. So yeah, so now that he's getting his touches, he's looked great.
That's not a concept that Notre Dame's familiar with in any sense.
Well, none of their running backs get touches.
No.
As opposed to at least giving one guy touches.
What's funny is I wrote in my preview article this year that no Notre Dame running back would get to 1,000 yards, but for like the exact opposite reason. Like I thought that they'd have like 3 guys who are hovering around like 800. Instead, they have a bunch of guys hovering around like 500.
That's crazy bad.
And one of which is the quarterback. You couldn't come up with a worse way to run this team, I'm telling you.
No, you couldn't.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
No, it's fine. So speaking of Notre Dame, next week, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish come to Los Angeles and play the number 12 USC Trojans in the Coliseum. It's a noon game, and right now, everyone expects us to guess the line, and that's not going to happen this week. Greg and I are doing something special. It's something we've talked about with each other for a while, and we're doing it for the rivalry game, for the last regular season game of this college football season.
Yeah.
We're having a special, I guess it'll come Thursday morning. So when you wake up on Thanksgiving, there'll be an untitled Notre Dame USC football podcast in your podcast queue. It'll be a preview of Notre Dame USC. We're bringing it for the holidays.
It's big time. It's big time. I'm telling you, Michael. And I texted you on Saturday, there's no way I'm watching this game. And you said I have an obligation.
I did.
You know what? It is true. I need to bring it for the people. And there's another reason, Michael. Because Notre Dame won't be playing in a bowl game this year.
They won't.
So I need to learn a lot more about USC because we're going to be talking about them leading up to their bowl game.
Well, there's a chance you find me on your doorstep Saturday afternoon.
What's that?
There's a chance you find me on your doorstep Saturday afternoon.
We got to live tweet this thing.
Oh, all right. So yes, the game's at noon. Well, we'll tell you all about it.
Well, it's at 12:30.
So yes, 12:30. So we think by Wednesday night there should be enough information out there about who's hurt, who's not hurt, what the coaches are saying, who's traveling where, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we got to find out about Juju.
which is it? His back? Is it his hand? His shoulder? His thigh?
It's all of it.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
See if anyone gets in trouble. Maybe this Notre Dame team loses focus before the big game, and someone gets in trouble in Los Angeles. They try to go to the Koji truck, and then just all bets are off. I wonder where they're staying. I know they used to stay at the Langham in Pasadena.
I could probably find out.
I mean, just thinking out loud there.
I've got connections.
We'll tell everybody on Wednesday.
That's right.
So, having said all that, we will be in your ears Thursday morning. Follow us on Twitter in the meantime. Greg, what's your Twitter?
At Greg2126.
Greg's had a lot to say lately.
I have opinions.
I've been off the Twitter. I still haven't found my way back. It's daunting right now at this time in our history. I'm not ready to be in social media.
You know what, man? Like I wish I was off Twitter a lot more than I am.
There's just too many opinions that I don't have the time to filter through.
It's totally true. Well, too many opinions that have nothing to do with sports.
That too.
And everything to do with the fascist dictator that's going to be running our country.
That's a whole different podcast.
What a terrible year this is.
2016, a year no one will ever forget.
Go away.
This has not been your year.
No.
Follow us on iTunes, where you type in Tilting Ground. You actually could type in USC or Notre Dame. We're pretty high up on the iTunes ranking, search term rankings for some reason.
Thanks to you guys.
Yeah, thanks to the listeners, man. So follow us on there. You can follow us from the website, tiltingground.com. Facebook page always has the most recent episode pinned to the top. And I think that's all the places they can find us, right? Did I forget anywhere?
No.
No, tell your friends, like it if you see the post.
Yeah.
We're coming down to the end. We'll try to think of some fun things as we get into bowl season for one of our teams.
You know what I'll do? You know what I'll do is, for me, I will just I'll watch one old-time game on YouTube every week, and I'll talk about that.
Well, tell me so I can at least.
Oh, no, I'll definitely tell you.
Okay, beforehand. I'll try to play along.
Yeah. That's not really what I'm going to do.
People want to hear about Amp Lee. No, wait, he went to Florida State.
Amp Lee, yeah, for sure, dude. What are you talking about?
Who was I thinking of?
We're gonna talk about like Jerome Bettis.
Ugh, don't do that to me.
Tony Rice.
He's one of my least favorite Notre Dame players of all time.
Oh my goodness.
Jerome Bettis.
1991 USC. Yeah. We're gonna talk about it all day.
Oh man. I'm trying to keep things positive, so we haven't done that podcast yet. Our most hated players from the other team.
It's time.
That might be coming over the offseason.
Yeah.
All right. And on that note, everyone, we will listen. You'll be hearing us early next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And fight on.
Go Irish.